Hello everybody, my name is Chase Rohrer. I am the host of the Rock Rewind here at 91.7 WIXQ, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Monday nights. So I'm going to be showing you my top 5 pieces of physical media specifically from my Pink Floyd collection, because anyone who knows me knows that Pink Floyd is my favorite band of all time. They're the band that I collect the most. First off, here is the 20th anniversary edition of Dark Side of the Moon, released on CD in 1993. 20th anniversary of the album, which originally released in March of 1973. It's special because it comes in a separate case here. It kind of opens up like this rather than just an ordinary plastic case. And inside there are some extras. CD booklet, just graphics to go with the song lyrics, nice and colorful, and a picture of the band. The other interesting thing, which is a little bit different, is that this set comes with 5 different postcard type inserts that have different pictures relating to the artwork of Dark Side of the Moon and the band members. So you got this one, this picture here of the pyramids. That's a little hint as to what's to come later in the video. So the disc right here is a nice silver cover on it. It does have a textured design. I don't know how well you can see that, but so that's the first piece. The second piece I want to show here, this is the 40th anniversary edition of Pink Floyd's debut album from 1967, The Piper at the Gates of Dawn. It comes in this nice little book style packaging, a 3-disc set. It comes with 3 discs, a mono and a stereo mix of the original album, and a 3rd disc of bonus tracks that are basically non-album singles that were released in the year 1967, as well as some alternate takes of some of the songs on this album, like Interstellar Overdrive of Matilda Mother as well, which has completely different lyrics, taken from an actual children's book, Cautionary Tales for Children, but they didn't use it because the author's estate didn't allow them to, so that's why it was re-recorded for the original album, which is a fun fact. Let's look at the actual booklet here. It's a slightly larger booklet than a typical CD booklet. You kind of see some of the stuff in it. But that's really neat. Inside this booklet, there's a little insert, and this is a replica of an art booklet and collage type of project Syd Barrett, the original Pink Floyd frontman, put together over the years, mostly in the mid to late 60s. Pretty nice book. It shows just how creative Syd Barrett was, how tragic it is, had his downfall when he did, because he was clearly such a talented guy. Next up is There Anybody Out There? The Wall Live 1980 to 1981. So this album was released in the year 2000. It's essentially a live album of The Wall, which was released in 1979. And this is just a compilation of, this is a specific version of it though, because this is not the standard version, but this one comes in its own little slip cover here. This is what the front looks like. The story behind these faces of the band members is actually that the live shows opened up with surrogate band is what they called it. It was a bunch of touring musicians that were with them that would play and wear these masks kind of as a trick to the audience, like acting like they were the real band but they weren't. Really interesting concept from the concerts, which I think is pretty cool, and that's where these masks come from. So inside, you got this hardcover book here. CDs are inside here, like they kind of match whatever the background here is. Different things about the tour, diagrams of what the staging looked like, pictures from the live show with the animations. It's such a shame that this show was never professionally filmed and released. Now, I've heard that there are filmed versions of these live shows, but they just haven't been released. That would be super cool. Maybe they'll do it for the 50th anniversary of The Wall in 2029. I'm not entirely sure. Another interesting thing about this set is that there are also interviews with the band members. There's a picture of Richard Wright right there. Interviews with people who worked with the band on this tour. Now, the regular 2-CD standard edition of this has the same content as this book, but shrunk down for a regular size CD booklet. And I do have that one too, but this one's more interesting. Here is the only vinyl issue that I'm showing off, because I have so many more that I could have picked, but it's so hard to narrow it down to just 5. This is one of my favorites in my collection. This is first edition US pressing of The Dark Side of the Moon. Got this at Tom's Music Trade, actually, if you know where that is. It's Red Lion, PA. I saw it and I was like, yes, I have to have this, because the reason why this one was so cool and I had to have it immediately, original posters and stickers were included. So in 1973, when this album was first released, it came with 4 different inserts, 2 different posters, one featuring the band and another featuring the pyramids, and 2 little stickers. It's so cool to find these intact because most people probably put these stickers on like their desk or books or whatever, and the posters are probably put up in their rooms and then just lost to time or just decayed because they're only just regular paper. These are what the two stickers look like. This poster, I hope you can see it all on camera, but this is the first poster. It has a picture of the band members, spells out Pink Floyd throughout all the photos, and then this one is horizontal while the other one's vertical, so I can hold it like this. So here it is. You can tell this is a first edition US pressing and not a first edition UK pressing, because the original first edition UK pressings, because Pink Floyd, they're based out of the UK, so it makes sense. The main official versions, I guess you could say, because the US had slightly different packaging. The original UK pressings had a solid blue triangle, which this one clearly does not have. Other than that, it basically looks the same. One of the greatest albums of all time. It's not even the best Pink Floyd album in my opinion. That honor goes to Wish You Were Here. Some of my personal favorites include Time, Money, and Us and Them. The closing tracks, Brain Damage and Eclipse, are also amazing, but there isn't really a track on this album that I don't like. It's one of those albums you have to listen to all the way through. Alright, here's the big one. Decided to save the biggest one for last. This is the Shine On box set. This was released in 1992. Really the first of its kind in terms of Pink Floyd box sets. This one has a few of their albums that were released at the time on CD. Not every single one. There were a few that were left out, but it includes their studio albums, A Saucer Full of Secrets, Metal, The Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, Animals, both discs of The Wall, and A Momentary Lapse of Reason. So, opening the box here, it is when I bought this off of Mercari, I think, actually, if you know what that is. They actually included the original shrink wrap that this came in. It did not come sealed. I did not open a sealed box set. It just came with the plastic, which I kept because that's nice, because you can kind of see like what the original hype stickers look like. It has a description of everything on the back. There was also this CD here. This is exclusive to this box set called Pink Floyd The Early Singles, and it's basically a compilation CD, every non-album single that the band released between 1967 and 1968. It folds out like this, and the CD tray is in the middle, and you got two other flaps here. And additionally, some postcards were also included of all the albums that are in the box set. A Saucer Full of Secrets, a Metal, a Dark Side of the Moon, this Wish You Were Here, Animals. This is, instead of using the cover art for the postcard for the wall, they actually cut out a part of the gatefold artwork with all the different characters from the wall, since it's a rock opera and follows a story. Momentary Lapse of Reason, which was the newest Pink Floyd album at the time, because this box set came out 2 years before the Division Bell came out in 1994. This is actually the image from the front of the box set. This is a 112-page hardcover book. Basically covers the band's whole history up to this point. This book just has a bunch of pictures about the band, different albums are included. There's a little timeline in here as well, just all kinds of stuff. So one more cool part of this book is the last little bit here, which is just a piece about the Dark Side of the Moon. It's called The Rock Album That Won't Go Away, and just talking about how big this album was on the charts and how it was on there for like a record-breaking 14 years close to. Didn't leave the charts until like the late 80s, which is pretty crazy. So, A Saucer Full of Secrets, their second album actually. Metal. Here's Dark Side of the Moon. And another cool thing is that all the discs have this kind of design. Once again, the same triangle shaped design from the other items in this set. Wish You Were Here, my favorite Pink Floyd album, as I mentioned before. Animals. The Wall, which is actually spread out across 2 discs. Momentary Lapse of Reason, which was the most recent album at this time. The reason why this is included is, fold this out, and you have this. The spines of all the CD cases make the Dark Side of the Moon artwork, which I think is a really clever idea. Sadly, as you can tell on mine, the decals are a little bit scratched up. This box set really kicked off the trend of Pink Floyd box sets with all these cool extras and other things like that. And that is pretty much going to conclude my list here, my top 5 favorite pieces of physical media in my Pink Floyd collection, if we're being specific. Hope you enjoyed that, and thank you very much for watching. If you want to hear me on WIXQ, make sure to tune in Monday nights from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. to listen to the Rock Rewind, where I play the greatest rock through the decades. Okay, thank you very much.